Hello everyone, today we'll learn about attitude, and this is the second chapter on ethics, integrity and aptitude. So what is attitude? Attitude is learned, enduring predisposition to think, to feel, to act in a particular way. It is learned, enduring predisposition to think, to feel, to act in a particular way. Which may be favorable or unfavorable towards socially significant object, which may be place, which may be person, which may be country, or things. So this is the definition of attitude, and if possible try to memorize this, try to commit to memory. So if someone asks you what is attitude, you will define it as an learned enduring predisposition to think, to feel, to act in a particular way towards socially significant object or things, right? Example maybe preconceived notions on caste, right? So this is the definition of attitude. Structure, what is the structure and parts of attitude? Structure and parts of attitude. It mainly consists of three parts, which is known as A for effective part or feeling component B for behavior part or action component, C for cognitive part or thinking component. So these are the three parts of attitude, which you can remember as an ABC. A for effective part, B for behavior part, C for cognitive part, right? Attitude is expressed through one's thinking. Okay, for example, what a person thinks about marriage. Suppose, consider for example marriage. Somebody may consider it's a sacred, somebody may consider as a contract. So the attitude towards marriage varies. According to one's attitude, one will act in a favorable or unfavorable way, right? Which is reflected in his attitude. Right? So this is all about structure and parts of attitude, which you can remember by the mnemonics A, B, C. Another topic, that's different types of attitude. Different types of attitude. What are the different types of attitude? One type of attitude is which is known as favorable attitude. This is expressed through showing liking to something. If someone shows liking to something, that is favorable attitude. The second is unfavorable attitude. Unfavorable attitude. This is expressed through rejection or hatred. Rejection or hatred. And the third type is indifference. Indifference attitude. Indifference attitude. Sometimes we don't have any opinion towards things. This condition is expressed through being neutral, or inert to something, and this is known as indifference. This is known as indifference attitude. Okay, the first we have learned about favorable attitude, then we have learned about unfavorable attitude, then we have learned the attitude of indifference, and the fourth is ambivalent attitude. Ambivalent attitude. Situation. This is a situation of dilemma or confusion with respect to something, which is known as ambivalent attitude. Okay, these are the different four types of attitude. One is favorable attitude, another is unfavorable attitude, then attitude of indifference, and attitude of ambivalent, which is state of dilemma or confusion with respect to something. Okay, now we learn about another topic, that is process of attitude formation. Process of attitude formation, or theories of attitude formation, or theories. The first is known as Pavlovian conditioning theory. Conditioning theory or classical conditioning. Right? In this is a conditioning in which two things are conditioned together for a long time to an extent that a person is made to believe that the two things are cause and effect of each other and will be associated with each other. Example is stereotyping. What is Pavlovian conditioning theory or classical conditioning? Is a conditioning in which two things are conditioned together in such a way that the person is made to believe that the two things are cause and effect. Okay, it's a conditioning in which two things are conditioned together for a long time to an extent that the person is made to believe that the things are cause and effect. This type of conditioning is also known as stereotyping. Stereotyping. Right? This is the first theory on attitude formation, which is known as Pavlovian conditioning or classical conditioning. The second theory is operant conditioning. I think you guys would be familiar. This is also known as theory of reward and punishment. Reward and punishment. We shape someone's attitude, which may be positive, which may be negative, by using this method of operant conditioning or theory of reward and punishment. Therefore, We should always reward for right reasons. We should always reward for the right reasons. For the right reasons. This is the second theory on the process of attitude formation, which is known as operant conditioning. The third is social learning, that is learning from others' experience. Right? So now we'll study about theories of attitudinal change. We'll be learning about theories of attitudinal change. The first theory is classical conditioning or Pavlovian conditioning or Pavlovian conditioning. Right? We'll be establishing the concepts like girls are an assets. We'll try to change the attitude on police. We'll establish that Muslims cannot be associated with terrorism. Okay. The second is reward and punishment. Reward and punishment. We will establish by rewarding small families. By rewarding good employees. Example may be surrendering of militants. Surrendering of militants and rewarding them. The third topic is persuasion. Okay, so we are learning about different theories of attitudinal change. The first is classical conditioning or Pavlovian conditioning. The second is theory of reward and punishment, and third is persuasion. So what is persuasion? Persuasion is a process or mechanism wherein attempt is made to change the attitude of a person or a group towards the desired direction, in a democratic way. So this is the definition of persuasion. Now there are three parts in persuasion. One is the source. So the trustworthiness or credibility or authority of the source is important. Also, you can add liking component. Hence, we use the examples of celebrities here. Example can be the polio campaign by Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, this is the source of persuasion, for persuasion. And second is the content. And manner of delivery of message. It must be comprehensive, it must be simple, and it must be lucid. Okay, the first three parts, so we are studying three parts of persuasion. The first is the source, the second is the content, and third is the target or audience. Target or audience. Here the factors like literary rate of audience, social status of the group, political ideology, and openness of the group. Okay, so we were reading about the theories of attitudinal change. So the first we have learned about classical conditioning, then we have learned theory, reward and punishment, then we have learned about persuasion. Okay, then we learn about social influence. It refers to the way in which individuals change their behavior to meet the demands of a social environment. Okay, this is about social influence. This is the fourth theory of attitudinal change. And the fifth is theory of planned behavior. Planned behavior. Situation in which a particular kind of behavior is ensured in a given setup. In a given setup. It helps in ensuring a particular kind of behavior by employee in an organization in a short run. Okay, so in long run, there's a possibility of developing cognitive dissonance. So what is cognitive dissonance? It's a situation in which thinking and action component of an individual do not match, do not match. So this may result in developing distress or uncomfort in the person. Okay, so these are different theories of attitude formation. First, we have learned about classical conditioning, then we have learned about reward and punishment, then we have learned about persuasion. Okay, then we have learned about social influence, and last and finally we have learned about theory of planned behavior, where we have learned about how it may lead to cognitive dissonance. We have also defined what is cognitive dissonance, right? So the next topic is about relevance of attitude. Or importance of attitude. Question here: discuss the various factors which determine the change of attitude towards caste. So this question you can practice on your own. So now we'll be dealing with the last topic of attitude, that is political attitude. So the first, some consider it as a dirty game. For some it's an art of possibility. And for some, an attitude of indifference. Okay. For some it's a dirty game, for some it's an art of possibility, and for some it is an attitude of indifference. There can be politics of idealism, okay, which was practiced by Gandhiji, versus politics of pragmatism. Here we can talk about Kautilya, we can talk about Machiavelli. Okay, there is also another three important aspects, which is leftist, centrist, and rightist political attitude. Leftists, they believe in change or progressive dissatisfaction with the present. Talk about revolution. Okay, this is about leftist. Now another component is the centrist, and the third component is the rightist. They are status quoist or orthodox. They believe in capitalism. The centrist, they believe in socialism. They believe in the concept of welfare state. Okay, so this is all about political attitude. For the first category, we have some consider it's a dirty game, for some it's an art of possibility, for some it's an attitude of indifference. Here we can write about politics of, secondly we can write about politics of idealism versus political of pragmatism. We can, in idealism we can bring Gandhi, and in pragmatism we can bring Kautilya and Machiavelli. And the third categorization we have done is about leftist political attitudes, centrist political attitude, and rightist political attitude.